PSG may need Neymar more than ever. Lukaku leads the way, another club faces extinction, Spurs' injury concerns grow, and there's a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Fronek, here with the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. So first off, and yet again to PSG, who may need Neymar more than they think. That's because both Edinson Cavani and Kylian Mbappe hobbled off with injuries on their 4-0 victory at the weekend and could be out for around 4 to 5 weeks. This means they'll obviously miss the international break, which is actually quite good from PSG's point of view because they won't be doing all of that travelling. They'll also miss the next 2 league games and their first Champions League group stage game. Of course, they don't know who that is against just yet, as the draw is being made on Thursday. But what it does mean is that they may have second thoughts when it comes to selling Neymar. Of course, I know what you're thinking, Matt, Cavani and Mbappe will be back in a month or so, but you never really know with these injuries, and especially with Cavani a few years older, it may take a longer time or it may reoccur rather than Mbappe getting injured again. The thing is that Barcelona are still interested in Neymar. Apparently, yet again, they've sent club representatives to talk with Neymar and PSG officials about a potential transfer. In other news for the Neymar deal, Real Madrid is still interested, but PSG are determined to get Vinicius Jr. in return, which they're reluctant to do, so I don't think that one's going to happen. And talking of player injuries having impact on transfers, Romelu Lukaku has moved to Inter Milan, but former Manchester United teammate Alexis Sanchez may not be following him. In the last few days, rumours have surfaced that a loan deal is willing to be done between the two clubs, but there's a bit of a disparity between what Inter Milan want to pay for the loan deal and what Manchester United want to be paying. This is in terms of his extraordinary wages. But the problem is, much like Kylian Mbappe and Edinson Cavani, Anthony Martial hobbled off at the weekend in Manchester United's 2-1 home loss to Crystal Palace, and this means that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need another player for his front line. As we know, Romelu Lukaku is out of there. Jesse Lingard isn't exactly on his finest form at the moment, meaning that they've got Daniel James and Marcus Rashford to complement the attack. Of course, if Martial is out for a long time, they're definitely going to need Sanchez, whether or not he's been playing good or not. As well as this, there is also some injury concerns over Luke Shaw, but that's not really going to hamper them as they still have Marcus Rojo and Ashley Young at the club. And just to make things worse for United's attacking problems, Romelu Lukaku has hit the ground running as he managed to score on his debut for Inter Milan. This means he's now scored on his debut for all 4 clubs that he's transferred to. This is West Brom, Everton, Man United and Inter Milan. But I'm sure the Inter faithful will be hoping that it doesn't really turn out like it did at Manchester United for the big Belgian. But moving away from transfer and injury news, and to yet again, I can't believe this is the second time I'm saying this in the space of 4 or 5 days, another club in League One could be facing extinction. This time, it's Bolton Wanderers. So on Friday, I was bringing you news about Bury FC, also in League One, who sit rock bottom, who had until midnight to save their club. A buyer was found and the deadline was extended until tonight, the exact same time that Bolton find out whether or not they will cease to exist. If this does happen, of course I've spoken about how disgraceful it is on the chairman and everyone running the club who's let this happen, but also the Football League. They really need to wake up. How on earth is it that you can have 2 clubs from the same division who go out of business? They really need to be looking at how the owners operate, how the football club operates, and how they operate themselves so that this can't happen in the future. I did mention the other day what would happen if Bury weren't part of the Football League anymore and all that it would mean for the rest of the table, but I've no idea what would happen if 2 clubs left the league. We'll have to wait and see, of course, because there are always last-minute deadlines and extensions to be given, but it does not look good for both clubs, and I really do feel for both fans. In the case of Bolton Wanderers, they were a founder of the Football League back in 1888, and just over 10 years ago, they were finishing in the top half, even the top 6 of the Premier League and playing European football. But back to some Premier League news now, and Tottenham face massive concerns ahead of the North London derby on Sunday. It's that time of the year where North London is completely divided as Spurs and Arsenal go head-to-head at the Emirates on Sunday evening. But this will be a massive problem for Mauricio Pochettino's men as their right back Carl Walker-Peters limped out of their loss to Newcastle at the weekend. Seems like we've been speaking about a lot of injuries, which doesn't make any sense because the players have had a full pre-season to try and get fit. We're only 3 weeks in to the Premier League. As for the right back situation, well, Serge Aurier seems to be completely out of favour, injured, and just hasn't played a game this season. Kieran Trippier was of course sold to Atletico Madrid. Juan Foyth is out until September, and now with Carl Walker-Peters out, the only other option for Spurs is to play Moussa Sissoko at right back. He did fill in on Sunday against Newcastle, who were staying back in their own half, and Sissoko didn't really have much defending to do. This will be a completely different scenario to what Spurs will face on Sunday, when the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Nicolas Pepe will be bombarding the Spurs defence. They really need to sort things out before Sunday, and the only option at the moment is probably to go super defensive with a 5-man backline so they can cover any mistakes from a filling in right back. So with this, it's clear yet again that Spurs' transfer policy has come round to bite them in the arse. Yes, they did make a few fantastic signings this summer and it's better than previous transfer windows, but yet again, they failed to replace the players that desperately needed replacing. You sold Kieran Trippier, good, he wasn't good enough last season, but they didn't bring in a replacement, and now, just 3 games in, it's biting them in the arse. So lastly but not least, we come to a quick roundup of the day's transfer news. Well, the rest of the day's transfer news. Bastos has joined Frankfurt on a permanent deal. Tammy Abraham at Chelsea could double his wages with a new deal. Rafael Guerreiro could earn up to €8 million a year if he joins PSG on a free next summer. And Martin Stekelenburg, the Everton number 2, could be making a shock swap to Real Madrid to be their number 2 if Keylor Navas ends up leaving, potentially to PSG. So let me know your thoughts on all of the transfer news and everything else in today's daily news in the comment section down below. You can also smash the like button whilst you're down there and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.